16. The deliverers. After Joshua died, the Israelites disobeyed God and did not drive out the rest of the Canaanites or obey God's laws. The Israelites began to worship the Canaanite gods instead of Yahweh, the true God. The Israelites had no king, so everyone did what they thought was right for them. Because the Israelites kept disobeying God, He punished them by allowing their enemies to defeat them. These enemies stole things from the Israelites, destroyed their property, and killed many of them. After many years of disobeying God and being oppressed by their enemies, the Israelites repented and asked God to rescue them. Then God provided a deliverer who rescued them from their enemies and brought peace to the land. But then the people forgot about God and started worshiping idols again. So God allowed the Midianites, a nearby enemy people group, to defeat them. The Midianites took all of the Israelites' crops for 7 years. The Israelites were so scared, they hid in caves so the Midianites would not find them. Finally, they cried out to God to save them. One day, a man of Israel named Gideon was threshing grain secretly so the Midianites would not steal it. The angel of Yahweh came to Gideon and said, "God is with you, mighty warrior. Go and save Israel from the Midianites." Gideon's father had an altar dedicated to an idol. God told Gideon to tear down that altar, but Gideon was afraid of the people, so he waited until nighttime. Then he tore down the altar and smashed it to pieces. He built a new altar to God near where the altar to the idol used to be and made a sacrifice to God on it. The next morning the people saw that someone had torn down and destroyed the altar, and they were very angry. They went to Gideon's house to kill him, but Gideon's father said, "Why are you trying to help your God? If he is a god, let him protect himself." Because he said this, the people did not kill Gideon. Then the Midianites came again to steal from the Israelites. There were so many of them that they could not be counted. Gideon called the Israelites together to fight them. Gideon asked God for 2 signs so he could be sure that God would use him to save Israel. For the first sign, Gideon laid a sheep's skin on the ground and asked God to let the morning dew fall only on the sheep's skin and not on the ground. God did that. The next night, he asked that the ground be wet but the sheep's skin dry. God did that too. These 2 signs convinced Gideon that God would use him to save Israel from the Midianites. 32,000 Israelite soldiers came to Gideon, but God told him this was too many. So Gideon sent home 22,000 who were afraid to fight. God told Gideon that he still had too many men, so Gideon sent all of them home except for 300 soldiers. That night God told Gideon, "Go down to the Midianite camp, and when you hear what they say, you will no longer be afraid." So that night,